Hello and welcome, Internet experts. Welcome to Brian Reeby Drives Electric. Welcome to Everyone's an Expert. And thank you for joining me here on a Wednesday night. At least Wednesday night where I am here in Minnesota. Thanks for joining. We've got snow on the ground and a little different driving situations coming our ways. So lots of new stuff. Excuse me, new look to the studio. Hope you like that. Hopefully, it's an improvement over the flat black or flat blue wall from previous weeks. But welcome. Thanks for joining. Hi, Roland. Hi, John. Not a lot of earth-shattering stuff to talk about this week, but a few things. Roland sent me a video earlier this week about a couple guys kind of arguing about the pros and cons of Tesla, whether it's a Ponzi scheme, kind of some. It seemed like I'm not going to reference put the link or anything to the video because it was really it was an interesting conversation, but when you've followed Tesla closely for several years, you kind of get used to these talking points and how they're not necessarily true, but they're out there and people have these opinions. So it was entertaining, but my take on it, Roland asked me what my take was from Chemist American Lifestyle. And my take on it is the guy defending Tesla or Tesla's position didn't have all the information at his fingertips or couldn't recall it easily. So he sounded like he was just making stuff up. And the other guy was very adamant that it was a Ponzi scheme, the whole thing's a fraud, and because the other guy didn't have his facts straight, it was easy for this guy to poke holes in things the other guy couldn't back up. So it was kind of, like I said, it was entertaining, but it was not a good substantive discussion, unfortunately. And it kind of made it look like anybody who owns a Tesla, buys a Tesla, or thinks they're worthwhile in any way is a complete moron. And so not going to share that link because, again, I think a lot of the stuff the guy being negative was saying was really pretty disproven points at this point. Saying they can't make money without regulatory credits, they won't be able to survive, they can't make enough profit. Well, clearly they're showing that they can do that. So it was interesting, like I said, entertaining, but a little frustrating to watch. So, not going to share that, but thanks for sending that to me because I do like to see that stuff. And it's always good to have your opinions and your viewpoint challenged a little bit, and take a look at what you think and why, and what resources you have for information that could be wrong. So it was good. I appreciate seeing that video, but not going to share it because, like I said, there was a lot of misinformation and a lot of guessing at refuting it. So, but I did enjoy seeing that. Yeah, it does. John says, looks like storms are coming, and yeah, it looks like we're going to get some more snow. And yeah, Todd, welcome. It's not a new room. I've just kind of shifted perspectives here to a corner, and so just trying to freshen up the look a little bit so you guys don't have to stare at a big blue panel Unfortunately, my face is still the same, so you're stuck with that. I could brown bag it, I guess. We could do that. But anyway, the snow is here. Yesterday I took, I'll tell you about full self-driving in the snow in a little bit. I do want to say thank you to Joe Mack, who was my guest on the channel for Sunday's video, the interview about the Mustang Mach-E. And it seems like people are getting a lot of use out of that video. It's doing pretty well. I think nearing 550 views, which is pretty good for me for a few days. So I appreciate that. I appreciate him coming on the channel. And I think Evie Dave had a good comment about it's... he was really candid. It wasn't... I think both of us have the attitude of you like what you like, I like what I like. Let's just talk about, why we like these vehicles, why going electric is fun, exciting, the vehicles are fun to drive. So we did do some comparisons and talk about likes and dislikes and things. But it was a pretty constructive and open and honest conversation about the cars, the driving, the experience of, he talked a little bit about his dealership experience, which I thought was really good. So I really appreciate him coming on, and I'd like to do more of those in the future, and it'll just be a matter of, when I can set those up. And then it's nice for me to have been in the cars and had a chance to test drive them. So the Mach-E was great. That I kind of had my impressions and was able to ask him questions of like, after 6 months, does this bother you, or does this not bother you, or do you just get used to it like anything else? So really nice that he could share his perspectives there. If you have friends or family who are looking at a Mach-E, it's worth sharing that with them just so they can see what it's like from a longer-term owner perspective. It's probably better than watching my review. Somebody pointed out a really good comment of, probably if somebody's going to own this vehicle, they won't be as unfamiliar as you are with it. They might even, read the manual. And he was being very, it was a constructive criticism, good feedback piece of saying, you're fumbling with this, but owners probably won't as much because they'll be used to it. And I did say that in the video too. Like, I look like a clown in this thing because I'm, fumbling with basic elements of it. But hopefully that added a little bit of fun to that video. But anyway, so thanks to Joe. If you're interested in the Mach-E or have friends or family who, don't want a Tesla but want to go to an EV, it's worth checking that out to get that opinion. I have a friend who his family owns car dealerships and Ford dealerships, and his in-laws' families do, and he said, I can't take a car with a T on it to my in-laws' house, but I can take one with a blue oval. So that's the one I'm getting. And, sometimes you have to make those choices and keep the family happy, regardless. And I'm sure he's going to love the car. So it's not he's very excited for it. So I'm excited for him as well to get that. But, everybody's got their own situation is what I'm trying to say. But, so it was also exciting to see, I think after you've owned an EV for a while, it's fun to see people getting their cars, but to actually sit down and talk with someone who's had it for, 5 or 6 months and they know it well and they just love it and they have that enthusiasm. Like, I still think I'm pretty enthusiastic about the Model S and the Model Y, but there's nothing like that new owner smell, that new owner enthusiasm of just, it's got this so much torque and it's got so much, pep and like does this great and this great. And, this feature is incredible. And, after you own your vehicle for a while, you go, yeah, it's great. But I'm used to it now. Now that's my baseline, and like everything should be this great, right? So, like I said, it was fun talking to him. Thank you, Todd. So, like I said, people who are looking into any EV or just kind of seeing what's out there, hopefully that's a good resource for people as they make their decisions. Tomorrow morning, with this new camera setup, it did come, of course, last Thursday, so I couldn't use it last week, but my daughter had distance learning all last week and then had a temperature yesterday morning. So she was in school one day, came home early yesterday, was home with me all day today. So I've not had a chance to fully dial in this new camera, so hopefully I'm not too excessively bright or dim or whatever. I know the last couple weeks have been pretty rough as my video lights were out and I was swapping between other lower quality cameras, but hopefully this looks all right. If it is super dark or super bright, let me know and I can make that change on the fly. But because of that, I haven't had a lot of chance to do much of anything other than, be a dad, do at-home schoolwork, and then last couple days just try to keep up on a week I was not expecting to have her with me all day. But I did get a chance before I had to pick her up. We got snow here yesterday in Minnesota, and it wasn't terribly heavy, but it was enough and it was blowing around, and the roads were getting a little slick. So I thought, why don't I take beta out? Full self-driving beta, I'm still on 10.5. They started rolling out 10.6, and then there were some, I think Elon said, annoying little issues. We're going to hold on 10.6, give it a couple days, fix those issues, and then start rolling out 10.6.1. So I'm hoping in the next couple days we start seeing that rolling out. I know people with 98 scores are wondering when they're going to get looped in. I would guess if 10.6.1 is going well, they will start being including in those waves of releases. So that is that's kind of where beta is right now. But I thought, hey, let's have a little adventure. So Tuesday morning, I did take the car out, put it in beta, not expecting great things. I know it's not finished yet, and snow and blowing snow and snow falling and lanes being obscured is all edge cases they need to figure out. But I was trying to get a really good baseline of where are we now, how well can this thing do now at the beginning of winter, and we'll see if it's got any improvements by the end of winter, or hopefully by next winter we're seeing major winter driving improvements. But it's got a lot of data to collect. I don't think there was a ton of beta testing in Minnesota last year. There may have been some beta testing, but it was also several steps below what it is now. And I think they're starting to be able to handle more data, which is why they're letting more and more people in. So my guess is this year is going to be really the year to collect snow beta data. How's that? So I took it out, and it's pretty much just a festival of disengagements. Some areas it did all right. Sometimes it got very confused. Sometimes it definitely isn't taking the weather conditions into consideration. Um, I let it do some things in safe areas, in safe situations, um, to see if it would just kind of slide through stuff or do things, and it's not slowing down appropriately yet. So if you do try it, I've actually spent all day trying to get this video uploaded, and it is. I started uploading it at 7:15 this morning. Took almost 3 hours to upload, and then spent all day processing. Just finished right before I went live with this. So I'm going to release that, I think, 7:30 tomorrow morning. And it's just about a half hour long of kind of how it's doing on when the path of where people have been driving doesn't match the lane markings. How does it handle that? A few different turns, stoplights. It definitely needs work, but like I said, this is kind of a baseline video of where it is now. And Dan Berkland's like in Mexico or Costa Rica or something, so I figured, usually he'd be out testing this stuff, but I thought I've got a beautiful morning out here to go test it, so going to give it a shot. So, like I said, that'll be dropping tomorrow, and I hope I don't get thrown into the camp of Tesla Q, because it's, I show it warts and all, and the only stuff I really cut out is when either I wasn't in beta or when I was waiting at a stoplight. So it's all pretty much there, and it needs work. It needs training, but that's what the beta program is for. And if you're going to do that, just be safe. Be sure your hands are on the wheel and you're paying attention and anticipating the possibility of problems before they pop up, because they will pop up. And having a game plan, obviously, if you've been driving in the snow for years and years, you know how you would handle situations. So if it starts to not handle situations the way you would, I would say be more diligent than on clear roads by far about disengaging and reporting problems. You'll see what I mean if you watch the video tomorrow or when you get a chance. It's kind of like regular beta. When it works, it's like, oh, that's cool. And then, you've got a lot to learn. And, certainly there were plenty of winter drivers, Minnesota, either new drivers or people who forget over the summer. Other people were sliding around, making bad decisions. So it wasn't certainly, it wasn't just beta. It was everybody. And I do have summer tires on the car. I was hoping they were all season, a little more all season than they really are, and they seem to be sliding around quite a bit. So definitely going to need to have winters put on in the next week or so. So before we're driving around for the holidays. But welcome, Aaron and Brandon and Kaylee. Hello. Brandon, whoever's here, whichever one of you. I'm sure both of you are watching, right? Anyway, Brandon, if you have anything you'd like to, eventually I want to get so I can have other people join in on the show. Like I said, this week was just getting the camera sorted out so I could do this live for today. But eventually I do want to be able to have people jump on and have, discussions that aren't just me one way and then you guys responding on the chat. But Brandon was out in LA last weekend for the I can't remember what they called it, but Out of Spec Studios had like an EV media summit, and Brandon was out there. They test drove a whole bunch of vehicles. Saw a lot of great pictures and little snippets coming out of that. So looking forward to all the videos that are going to be coming from that. I was super jealous. Looked like a great time, and obviously being somewhere warm would have been nice too. But I hope you guys had a fantastic time. So if there was a highlight or something you want to share about that, or when you're going to have videos coming out, I know you got, I saw your post on Twitter about having so much, having so many videos and so much data to download. So looking forward to all that. That'll be on the EV Nomads channel, and looking forward to checking those out when they come. Jim, hello, welcome, Iowa Tesla guy. Have you guys got any snow down there yet? Roland, I assume you've got snow all the way up in North Dakota. You've had snow for a while, haven't you? Just Brandon. What a surprise. I can't imagine Kaylee doesn't want to sit here and watch this. Like she doesn't get enough EV talk without watching other shows. But hi to her anyway too. Let's see. I gotta scroll up here. I missed John asking about FSD. When John uses FSD in his neighborhood, have to manually turn it down to 20 miles an hour. Yeah, mine goes right to my offset too. Yeah, I've been part of a lot of my video is slow it down, slow it down, slow it down, and I'm just scrolling. So I think I'm actually going to turn the offset off, or even, I don't know if you can turn it negative, but I might turn the offset negative for FSD beta testing, and then I will raise it if it's situationally appropriate. So it was definitely a learning experience. EV Media Summit. Okay, it was that. Okay. Shauna, hello. Welcome. VOG, FYI. I'm not sure what that's in reference to, but hopefully someone got that, or maybe you can explain it a little better. Brandon's saying Audi RS e-tron GT. Definitely jealous of the Leaf. Rivian R1T, but nobody got to drive the Rivian, is that correct? Although Kyle's already driven it. ID4, all-wheel drive. XC Recharge. Oh, I didn't realize that was there. Mach-E GT and GT Performance Edition. Yeah, many more. Yeah, the Audi RS GT e-tron is, I think out of that batch, my favorite as far as looks go. I think it's just a really sharp looking car. Somebody had it posted next to a Taycan, and they're like, which one would you prefer? And I'm like, I've always loved the look of Porsches, but the Audi, I don't know, might look a little better. I don't know if that's blasphemy, but I think it looks great. You really have to watch it in the residential area, John is saying. I wonder what they're going to do about speed bumps and potholes. Well, I think the last version was picking up some speed bumps. I don't know if they were like mapped in parking lots or something. I don't hit a lot of, I don't go a lot around with a lot of speed bumps, so I don't know. But yeah, hopefully they'll start taking potholes and speed bumps and that kind of stuff, doing more speed corrections that aren't phantom braking into account. I haven't had too bad of phantom braking, though, so I can't complain. I know some people have, so. And no snow yet in Iowa for Jim. Starting with a travel video on Friday, then jumping into the car videos, starting with the XC40 Recharge. That's a good one to start with, because that's one I've hardly seen anything on, so I'm excited to see what that's like. Ice up in North Dakota. How's the driving been up there then? XC40 Recharge was surprisingly excellent. Have you... XC40 Recharge is Volvo, and they're owned by the same group that owns Polestar. Were they fairly similar, or was there a... I know they're different type vehicles, but was the driving pretty similar, or is... I'm trying to think of how to frame the question. But anyway, I'm curious to see that video. I think it'll be great to see a good Volvo EV. No drives for the Leaf or the Rivian. I can't believe you missed out on a Leaf drive. The deal with the Porsche Charger damaged batteries, I don't know. It seems like that came out, that report came out. It seemed to be from one source. Of course, Porsche denies it. I guess we'll have to see if more comes out, or if we start hearing other things leaking out about that. But it seems like everything I've heard about the Taycan is that people love it. So I feel like if there were a ton of battery issues, we'd be hearing about it. But I don't know. I haven't heard anything other than that one report last week. So. Yeah, Brandon got a really good look at the Rivian inside the gear tunnel. That's one of those things that when I saw it at Fully Charged Live last year, I was like, oh man, it would be so fun to crawl in there. Obviously, back then they had it roped off, and if you had a reservation, they would let you sit in it. And they had like appointments that if you had a reservation, you could talk to their engineers or people from the team. But definitely other people couldn't just get in and crawl around on it yet at that point. That was March of 2020. So I was really like, I can't tell you how happy when I saw your post of you sticking out of the side of the Rivian gear tunnel. That brought just joy to my heart. It made my holidays. So that was cool that you guys did that. I saw Tesla Raj did that as well. Taycan Sport Turismo. Somebody put a Toyota Prius on a gun range for practice shooting. That's a waste of a perfectly good boring vehicle. Let's see. Brandon, as far as I know, it's one source, and we're gonna need more information before we know. Ooh, Aaron, thank you for the offer to come and experience phantom braking. I know some people, if it seems, it's not that I haven't had it. It's just that it's never been that major of a thing. Some days it's, I get it a couple times, But it sounds like, yeah, like Aaron, you must be one of the people who, like, it's just constantly doing that. So, yeah, I'm sorry you're dealing with that. Hopefully, maybe that will be the Christmas update. They were saying, maybe there's going to be a Christmas update. Maybe the present will be no phantom braking, which would be great if they solved that at Christmas or before. Yeah, Polestar and the XC40 are sister cars, same CMA platform, same drivetrain, same dual 150 kilowatt motors front and rear. Okay, I didn't realize they were that similar. Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah, that's good. If Porsche's consistently saying there's nothing to that, and there aren't a bunch of owners going, "Hey, my battery or my, they had to replace my this or that," it seems like people in the EV world are very happy to share their problems. So I would think if it was happening to a ton of people, we'd be hearing about it. My FSD experience in Williston, if I rate it as A minus, oh, that's pretty good. Can handle my home to work with no disengagement. Maybe because it's a small town. Yeah, it's a small town, but there's a lot of traffic and there's some weird. I mean, just going to visit you up there, like, it's pretty easy to get turned around. I know they've got like all the map data, but that's pretty good. If it can do most of your drives to and from work and everything, that's fantastic. Like I said, I've said this in a different video, but 10.5 for me started out really pretty bad. And then I know it sends data and receives data between updates. Then the last couple days before the snow, it started doing pretty well and not making the mistakes it had made a couple weeks earlier. So I'm hoping 10.5 solves some of my problems from 10.4, some specific things that I had flagged as, hey, as I'm going on an entrance ramp to the interstate, don't put me in the HOV lane on the ramp. So little things like that, which are big things when you have someone behind you, but things I was reporting did get fixed in the next iteration. So I'm trying not to be too trigger happy with the report button. If it's something that's common enough, I think they're going to fix on their own. But definitely unique situations, or the other day, it was yesterday when I went to pick up my daughter from school. I was using beta going up a hill near my house, and there was a salt spreader truck that was backing down the hill in my lane. And so obviously, I disengaged, got around it, but I flagged that as a, hey, here's a corner case you may not see in California. So, or at least in, the bulk of the areas in California. So trying to flag that stuff, that's, the more out there kind of things. Just catching up here. My Y does have the radar, but now with beta it's been disabled. So it's in there, but not contributing. John says one of the girls from Electrify from the UK crawled inside the Rivian tunnel, and she says Rivian tunnels is where you bed the children. That's the right size kid might really enjoy that. I'd love it if I was a kid. Although I don't think maybe my Santa gut would necessarily fit in there so great right now. Need to get back on the workout train. Let's see. Aaron's asking for presents for Christmas. Between the Lucid battery size claims, 12.9 Tesla claims, and Porsche battery claims lately. There's been a lot of, there's been uh, a lot of overhype over small things. Yeah, definitely. The 12.9 thing, that just blew up so hardcore. Now, it'll be funny if something actually does happen, but I was saying this, I don't know if this was last week or another week, but there tends to be a thing between, with the Tesla events and reveals and things like that, even earnings calls, where there seems to be a bunch of people who will be like, or it'll start with one person saying, hey, do you think, the Cybertruck's, or like when the Cyber Quad for kids rolled out, some people were like, well, does that mean like 12.9 is when they're going to roll out the Cybertruck? It's like they've been telling us for 6 months it's not going to be volume production until like 2023. There's no way, and like Giga Texas isn't ready to do that. There's absolutely no way that's happening. But things like that come out and one person says it, then another like big account will make a poll, even if it's as a joke. Then other people will pick up on it and like, well, do you think this is really going to happen? Oh, I'm sure it's going to happen. And pretty soon it's a certainty. This happened with Battery Day. Like, people were so sure, like, they were going to start delivering Roadsters or Plaids. I can't remember what it was, but like they're going to start delivering these, with the 4680s in them at Battery Day. And then, of course, it didn't happen, and everybody's like, what? It was just a Battery Day? So, yeah, I don't know. People get so wound up. And some of that's fun and harmless, but, when people get too serious about it, it gets way out of hand. And like that Porsche thing, if it's not true, if people are spreading it around without new information, that's not good, because the Taycan seems to be a great vehicle. I saw one the other day. It's actually in the video that's dropping tomorrow morning. It was at the Dollar Tree, of all places. But it was, as I was turning around in my FSD drives, I was like, hey, holy crap, that's a Taycan right there at the Dollar Tree. Who knew? But it was cool. It was great to see one out and, in the real world getting snowed on. So unfortunately, nobody around to talk to about it, but had someone like been standing near it, I definitely would have stopped and harassed them a little bit and asked all sorts of annoying questions. Let's see. Yeah, roundabouts have not been super for me, John. I don't know if they're just marked weird. I tried a few in Prior Lake, and they were just... it almost confused me more than confusing other drives. Like, why would you do it this way? But that's the kind of stuff you report and hope they can fix. Roland's saying up in North Dakota he's not even getting... FSD's not showing up. Okay. I did have that once on my drive where it said FSD not available. And a block later it was back. So I don't know if it could just see the road well enough, or it thought it could. Again, watch the video. Some of it's funny. If you want to hear me make noises, it's not that bad. That was a terrible thing to do on a live stream. I don't know why I did that. Anyway, it was a good experience, good training session, not a good driving session. Let's see. John, I don't know what you're talking about there. Put a... Are you saying a Honda generator in a Tesla? No more supercharger stops? Then you're hauling around a generator. And have to fill it with gas. Is with Tesla monitoring camera in the cab now on FSD. Is a guy his wife was. Oh yeah, a guy. His wife was using the cell phone and FSD, the interior camera, recognized that a phone was in use and kicked the guy out. I think that's some of in Elon's tweet he was talking about some annoying things because a lot of people were complaining about getting dinged or getting kicked out of, if not full FSD, getting kicked out of drives. I know Rob Maurer from the Tesla Daily podcast got kicked out on his drive. And so I think that might be some of the stuff they're fixing is tweaking that sensitivity on, making sure it's watching the driver but not giving a bunch of false positives. I thought somebody said something about a kid doing something in the back seat was even like triggering a warning. I can't remember, but yeah, John, that's another one of those things. Like, there's going to be a Tesla cell phone. Elon said there wouldn't be a Tesla cell phone. There's not going to be a Tesla cell phone. But some reason keep seeing these articles that the Tesla cell phone is going to come out and it's going to be either terrible or amazing or whatever the flavor of the week is. Whether we like Elon this week or whether we don't like Elon this week. Speaking of that, I thought I'd take my time to do a little Elon blasphemy for those who think he can't be questioned. I was watching his interview the other day with the Wall Street Journal thing. Most of it was stuff we've heard already. Then he started talking a little bit about, he doesn't think we should pass the Build Back Better. The second part of that infrastructure package that's still working its way through Congress, or it's through Congress. It's to the Senate. They're trying to sort it all out. And I completely disagree with him on this. And I get what he's saying is that Tesla doesn't need the subsidies. They've been without subsidies. They got a loan early. They paid it back early. That's all great. But he's also saying we should remove all the subsidies for oil and gas and everything and just level the playing field. And then, it's going to be pretty obvious pretty quick that electric is the way to go. But Elon kind of thinks of problems in a vacuum and how things should be. Kind of like if I ran the circus, then this is how it would be. And yeah, we should remove all the subsidies, and that would be great. Level the playing field. Think of all the money that would, flow back into the government if we weren't, subsidizing oil and gas. But we're not going to stop that. That's not, it would be great if that happened, but it's not going to. And so in lieu of that, in lieu of the ideal situation, having a subsidy that helps people get into an EV and build infrastructure for EV charging is a good thing that we should do. There's other things in there that you can argue maybe aren't infrastructure or shouldn't be part of the thing. But there again, looking at Elon's viewpoint, I think he said it in that. He said it in the Wall Street Journal interview of like, government should be like a referee, and government has like a monopoly on violence. And although I don't disagree with him, he's saying we shouldn't run up the deficit anymore. Well, we've been running it up for 20 years being pretty violent. And I guess I would rather see, it could be argued that infrastructure is the best use of government and is actually being the best of referees when you raise the level of infrastructure, you raise the level companies can do business and the things they have access to, transportation, ports, roads, bridges, all that kind of stuff. Shipping, all is in infrastructure. And raising the bar of infrastructure for the country makes businesses more profitable, makes businesses able to innovate faster, and a whole bunch of other things. So, part of the big business growth in the 20th century was because we had the interstate system, because we had, good, top of the line ports and everything. And for decades, we've been saying we can't afford to fix that yet. That we're getting, or politicians unwilling to, have a big spend under their tenure because, it'll look like we're spending too much, when really it's like spending on that kind of stuff facilitates the ability to businesses, and the economy as a whole, American growth to increase, in my opinion here. I'm sure that everybody's got their own thing. And so I think it's actually the best use of government money. If the government's going to spend money, this is what we should be spending money on, not necessarily writing a blank check to the military in every case. Military needs to be funded. Veterans need to be taken care of. That's obviously very important, and actually something I'm not going to get into that, but I definitely think veterans need to be taken care of. We sometimes literally put them through hell, and then it's hard for them to get resources for the care that they not only need, but they deserve. And we owe it to them for doing the jobs we ask them to do. Anyway, infrastructure is also improving hospitals and things like that. So, and could be used by the VA to improve hospitals and things. So, like, if you take Elon's, the government should be the referee and has a monopoly on violence, then we should be hoping that it does the least amount of violence possible. And we could do that by having better infrastructure, better healthcare, and things that keep people in therapy that need it, able to find therapy that need it. This is a stressful time of year, and you hear stories of people who need to, find someone to talk to, and there's just no one available. Everyone's booked solid. Can't fit another person in. So, there's a lot of need out there. Things the government could facilitate and would be better than doing, the violence things. So, anyway, that's kind of a long tangent. I hope it didn't get too out there. And I know there are things in the bill that aren't traditional in infrastructure. And here again is where Elon thinks this is the way it should be. And if we had two parties that could work together, this, some of this other stuff should be taken off and put into other bills. But because we have a system right now where there seems to be an unwillingness to give a single vote, even if you agree with something, to the other side, Stuff has to get bundled like this just to pass. So I think there's a lot of good that can help a lot of lower income people. And in the case of EV credits, there's a lot of stuff that would be good to help lower income people get into an EV when maybe they wouldn't think they could otherwise. So I'm not saying it's all perfect and this is the way it should be. I'm just saying I for people who think Tesla fans never disagree with Elon, this is one of many things I disagree with him on, and I would like to see that pass. And obviously, I'd like to see the union credit taken out because I think that's pandering and doesn't actually help the union at all. Because the problem with EVs is not, are we going to be able to sell enough? The problem is we can't make them fast enough to sell. So hope, it would be great if that part came out. If it doesn't, we're all going to survive. Tesla's going to survive. But anyway, my 2 cents. Sorry if it got too political there, but I just also want to be very clear that I'm a big fan of Elon's. I think he thinks about a lot of things in a great way, and but I also think he can get tunnel vision and not necessarily see, some of the big picture, how some things unfortunately have to be done. And there's only so much so far you can put off spending on roads and bridges, like we saw here in Minnesota when the I-35 bridge tragically collapsed. It was being repaired, but they didn't. They had too much weight on the bridge, and it was. We shouldn't be letting things get to that point in America. So, off the political soapbox, and I'll leave that there. I'll catch up with the chat there, and sorry if that got too political, but I tried to keep it as even keel as I could. Yeah, Elon is against all subsidies. That is correct, and I think that would be awesome if we could get rid of all subsidies. I do think the problem with getting rid of oil and gas subsidies right now, in one fell swoop, if that were to happen, is all that extra cost would come to the consumer, or a huge chunk of it. And the people who can afford it least are the ones who then also wouldn't be getting a credit to get an EV. And so people with older cars, with less fuel efficient vehicles, would get hammered at the gas pump, at oil changes, all that stuff. So to do it in one fell swoop is, I think, would be really harmful. Maybe there's a way to do it. I'm sure there could be, but I don't think it could happen. I don't think it could happen too quickly. Without really hurting poorer people who still have to drive inefficient gas cars or diesel or whatever. So, but yeah, getting rid of all subsidies would be awesome. Glenn, I don't think I said it, but hi, welcome, by the way. Aaron's got the right idea. Let's tag him on Twitter to participate next Wednesday with a chat. Just the 9 of us. That'd be fantastic. Yeah. I'm sure Elon. I'm going to tell you guys a secret here. I think Elon's smarter than me. I'm putting that out there. I know you're all going to disagree, but I think he's wrong on this policy point, and his pushing for it. I understand the concern for the deficit and everything, but to me this is the kind of thing we should be putting money into, and not in 20 years of war where we don't really accomplish much. And I'm going to stop there again. But yeah, I'd love to debate Elon on this and just come out looking like an even bigger dope than I do. So that'd be cool. Let's see. Yeah, Glenn, I agree. The problem is that we haven't done it. We've done so little investing in infrastructure that, it's kind of the stitch in time saves nine philosophy. If we spent a little bit, a good allegory to this is, football stadiums and things like that, which you could argue should or shouldn't be built. But, when Minnesota was considering a stadium for the Twins or the Vikings, we start talking about it, and then it happens like a decade or a decade and a half later. And the price is 6 times what it was, or 10, 15 times what it was back when they first started talking about it. But the problem when everybody first started talking was it's way too expensive. So we're going to wait. We're going to put it off. And then now it's 10 times as expensive. So, that kind of stuff just balloons and gets out of hand. So yeah, it would be way better if they could just make investments annually to keep things, in good shape and slowly improve the level of everything. That'd be great. I don't think necessarily there's public will to, or I think there's public will to do something like that because it's, makes sense. I don't think there's necessarily political will from lawmakers. Say stop jacking up the price of Teslas. We won't need subsidies to help people buy Teslas. Yeah, the Tesla's hopefully going to stop the price increases. Hopefully we've seen the last of those, but I'm probably saying that as they're tweeting or updating the website now. So hope that's not the case, but and hopefully when Berlin and Austin open, there is a price decrease throughout next year. And then in 2023, I'm hoping to see some significant prices coming down. Because there will be more of that competition in the lower price tiers, like the ID4, which might not be right for everyone. But, when you're looking at, a $20,000 price gap, that's, going to make a lot of people think twice. I would, if I were to buy the Model Y again, I'd have to really think about it at today's prices where, when we got it, it was considerably cheaper. So hopefully they can drop prices. They start... Yeah, hopefully the Cybertruck doesn't get too out of hand. I'm concerned it's going to go the route of the Model X, where they try to cram so much technology in it, then it just becomes really difficult to manufacture, difficult to maintain. It seems like they've got, things figured out with the X now, but I know for a while it was just, a tough thing to work on. So hopefully they're not doing that with the Cybertruck, but every new thing or new feature I hear about it, I'm like, oh, don't make it too difficult. Just make it awesome in enough ways, and it'll be fine. Yeah. Yeah, maybe not invade countries for oil. Yeah. I think that's part of what he was talking about is the in the violence part, and but there again, that's where a lot of the money, the deficit's out of control. We've been throwing money at things like that for 2 decades and half of the decade before that. Roland thinks he's just sour graping because he wasn't invited. Yeah, I mean, that could be part of it. He could be kind of sulking because, until today, there hasn't been much posting of Tesla stuff, or any posting of Tesla stuff by anyone in the Biden administration. But there was an eighth of a second clip in the video he posted today with the back of a Model X in it. So Tesla's on the board. But, generally, I don't worry too much about that stuff. It's annoying, but it's like, if there's a big push for EVs, Tesla is going to be fine. They're in the lead. They're going to be fine. So, yeah, I don't worry too much, other than the it's annoying kind of part of it. But I do like the idea that Elon's just sour grapes, and he's like, screw that bill you want to pass. I'm going to pour cold water on it. Could be. I don't know. He's only human as far as we know. Yeah, since John bought his Tesla, it's gone up about 10,000. I think mine too. Yeah, it's... You did it, Mary. You really did it. You're leading the way. Yeah. Yeah. Anyway, so that's all that stuff. I'm going to leave that there, but just wanted to say, because Tesla people get accused a lot of, you just go along with everything Elon says, and even in the last couple days since he's posted that, I've seen so many accounts agree posting with things he's posting of just like, yeah, I've always thought that this or that. And it's like, have you? Or, is it just like Elon said it, so it must be right? Maybe he is. I don't know. But find out next Wednesday when I debate Elon Musk on my YouTube channel. That's not going to happen. Yeah, it would be hilarious, though. Do not tag Elon, even as a joke. That would be so super awkward. It would probably get me over 1,000 subscribers, though. I guess if I was arguing against him, maybe not. Maybe all the Tesla Q people would follow me. I don't think I want that. Glenn says, I think if you charge at home, perfect. I can't, so I rely on superchargers and parking by work here and there at a downtown ramp. Hopefully I can charge at home in 6 months. I make it work even in the cold. Wow. yeah, if you can't charge at home, that's rough. Then if you're relying on superchargers, at least they're fast, and you can go to a Target or Hy-Vee or somewhere where you can charge and do grocery shopping or whatever you need to do. Hopefully, I don't know how far your commute is, but hopefully you're not having to supercharge every day. Is that one of my hats? Those hats are. That is the Brian Reeby Drives Electric hat from Roland. And then my Well Done Foundation hat. Here, I'll walk back there and see if the focus follows me. Since this is the new setup, I can give you the grand tour. There's the board that was behind me before. And then my Well Done Foundation hat from the Well Done Foundation up in Montana. And the hat, I have no idea where the focus is right now. It should be following me. I've got a whole different office setup right now, so I'm trying to sort out what it was. But this is the one I wear every day. And get the light shining on it there. So they're nice in the background. If anybody's looking for a donation spot, I'm not really... I get nothing out of this, so I'm just saying this as a PSA more than anything. I know some people who have been following the channel have been following the Well Done Foundation series and things I did with them. And they actually have a thing where you can donate for carbon offsets on their website. And they've got a little calculator of like how much the average person or average household emits per year, and you can offset those credits by helping to plug wells. They just kind of redid their website over the last few months, and that's a new feature on it. If you haven't visited the website in a while, want to check that out. If you found my channel through Now You Know and supporting kind of what they're doing with the well plugging, there's an opportunity. I know a lot of people like to donate at the end of the year for things, for tax write-off purposes and things. So that's out there. They have no idea I'm saying this right now. It just occurred to me because I picked up the hat, and I do like them and support what they're doing. I can put a link to that page down in the description afterward if you're interested. But this isn't sponsored or anything. It's just I saw the hat and thought of that. So if you want to do that, like I said, I'll put the link in there. And what you do with your money is your business, not mine. Anyway. Yeah, we'll see. I've got if anybody needs stuff like that, or hats or T-shirts or things, Roland, Chemist American Lifestyle, here in the chat, he can hook you up. Stickers, all that kind of stuff. But if Elon is here next Wednesday, what is my first question? My first question is probably, hey, how's it going? If I gotta ask Elon a question, what would it be? Let's see. There's a lot I'd like to know. I feel like in so many interviews he's talked about, like, he tends to say the same stuff about Starship or Tesla, about Cybertruck. I think it's all good, and usually it's to different audiences, except for the rabid Tesla SpaceX fan base. But we've kind of heard him talk about, Cybertruck's going to be alien technology. It's going to be like from the post-apocalyptic future, bringing technology back and stuff like that. So I don't know if I'd ask him a question necessarily about that. I'd like to know more, maybe how he thinks about problems, like how he approaches. And he kind of talked to this on Tim Dodd did an interview with him down at SpaceX in Boca Chica, and he kind of talked through his problem-solving method, and that was pretty interesting. So it might have something to do with that. A little clarity on some of that. One thing I do admire about Elon, I don't know if he always takes it to heart, but he has said it several times, is that, he could be wrong. And so his willingness to admit that he might not be right about something, I find refreshing. So many people are so afraid to say, I don't know. And I've been in that bag myself so many times where I'm like, I try to bluster my way through something and I'm like, why did I get into the weeds on this? I don't know what I'm doing. So I really, it's something I've tried to do as I've been an adult, and not always successfully, is just stop and say, I'm sorry, I don't understand, or I don't know, can we go back a couple steps, explain it to me a different way. But that's hard to do because you gotta kind of, you're trusting that the other person isn't going to say, you idiot, which could happen. Excuse me. Sorry about that. I'm feeling under the gun now that I got to ask Elon a question. Hey, Tim, welcome. Glad you could make it. Well, Glenn, I don't know. I may have given all the hats away. You don't want that one because it's been very sweaty on my head. But Roland just sent me. Pause for dramatic effect. Focus on the hats while I'm gone. But Roland just sent me patches that you could iron onto anything, which are fantastic. And just got these this week, so thank you very much. So if you'd like one of these, I think his hat distributor was out of stock, so we've got patches instead for right now. So if you'd like one of these, maybe find me on Twitter. I'll put my Twitter handle down below after the show, and then DM me on Twitter if you can, or on Facebook, and I can get you one of these. I do not suggest you put your address in the chat, because who knows what anyone will send you. You never know. But anyway, so yeah. So if you'd like an iron-on patch, I'm going to put one of these on a jacket I have, and spread them around. So thank you, Roland. Really appreciate those, and we'll do more swag in the coming year. Let's see where we are. Teslab does have carbon offsets as well, and I haven't looked too much into that. When I first got our 2015 Model S, we got it in 2018. When I first got that, I was way into Teslab. It was Really super helpful as I was getting used to my car and owning an EV. And then a couple years into it, I kind of just stopped checking. Not out of I didn't like it anymore. I got to the point where I was comfortable enough with the car and charging and all that stuff that I just didn't use it terribly often. And when we got the Model Y, I did switch my account over to, link with the Model Y on Tesla. And for a while, I was doing the like reviews. You could do little supercharger reviews on there as you're charging. How are the bathrooms? How's the amenities and all that stuff. And I thought it was a good feature and cool to have on there. But like I said, I just kind of got out of the habit of using it, and I've been meaning to do a review of a few of the Tesla apps or EV apps that kind of help with that kind of stuff. So that might be something in the new year. That might actually be a fun thing to do here on the live stream. Is if Glenn, you're using Tesla and really liking it and up to date on what it's like. I know a lot of people use Teslafy, and I think there's a couple others out there that are kind of people's go-to EV planning or monitoring apps. If people would want to do a live stream where we just kind of talk through those and compare, get 4 or 5 people on and just kind of talk through what each one of them does, that might be really helpful for people. So it'd be cool to consider either doing during a live show or set up a separate Zoom with people that we could do that and then release it as a video, because I think that stuff is really helpful. And like I said, Tesla was awesome when I was getting used to my car for the first couple years. And then this actually leads me into another thing that I kind of forgot I was going to talk about, but we've sorry, I'm just checking. Just saw things drop in the chat here. Add the song to iTunes as well. The song is just something I got off a royalty-free subscription website I have. So I pay like a yearly fee for access to music that I put in the videos and things, and then can pick tracks out of different genres and things. So the song is probably out there. Actually, it's not in the description of this live stream, but it is in the description of most of my videos. If you really want the song, you could probably find it on Audio Blocks, or it's called Storyblocks Audio now. Studio. I am totally blanking. Is it Studio Blocks? I just said it and now I can't remember. My brain's falling out of my head. Anyway, I'll put that. It's called Sabotage, a song called Sabotage. It's in the description of most of my videos because it's usually at the end tag of most of the videos. So yeah, you too could get that song. Glenn uses both Teslafy and Teslab. He's got issues. Yeah, so I think having different apps and stuff is cool and helpful, and like cars, some cars are best for some people, some are best for other people. I find that with the apps too. Some people like more data, some people like more other kind of information, or to see it in a certain way. So, and that's what that is. So yeah, doing an app video would be kind of cool, I think, and showing what the different ones do. But that kind of leads me into, so on one hand, I'm saying that, with the apps, I haven't paid much attention to them in recent years. And then I started planning this trip. I've talked about this before. We're going to Cocoa Beach at the end of February next year. And so just, there's holiday deals and things going on for hotels. So started planning out the route for that. And even though on the day of the trip, I'm going to get in the car and just press the button on the Tesla and say navigate to Indianapolis or whatever. When I'm planning it and figuring out where we're going to stay for the night, like how many miles, it's going to be my daughter and I traveling together. And the question is, when traveling with a child, is how many miles do you want to put them through in a day? Not necessarily how many can you do. If I was traveling alone, I'd do it in a couple days and just hammer down there and enjoy the beach. That's pretty grueling for a child. So the question becomes, what are our stop points going to be? How much can we do in a day? And then if we're, say, driving through the mountains, are we going to stop and see some things, get out and look around, see people along the way? And so as you start planning that stuff, it's not just planning where your charge stops are and you'll just stop wherever. It becomes, okay, we can get somewhere between Indianapolis and Cincinnati on that first day pretty easily. And that shouldn't be too bad. And then also, how many days you're going to take. We've got basically 3.5 available days for traveling for us. We can check into our hotel at like 5:30 on a Tuesday afternoon in Cocoa Beach. So then it's, how are we breaking up that time between Minnesota and Cocoa Beach? Obviously, we could leave Friday night. Like, I could get her out of school on Friday and we hit the road. I'm not going to do that to her. We'll leave on Saturday morning. But there again, we could leave at 5 a.m. and drive till midnight and, really hammer. But we have enough time. We don't need to do that. But because of that, and because there's some flexibility, I start pulling out all the websites. I've got a better route planner up. I've got PlugShare up. I'm looking for, hotel deals and things. What hotels have EV charging? If I didn't mention PlugShare, looking on there as well. As we're planning out stops, I might look back to Zach and Jesse's Now You Know channel's Supercharger review page, because I've been in some of these areas, but not in all, and there's a whole lot more superchargers now. So I might be a little more choosy about which ones we stop at. So it's just interesting that, having done a lot of road trips, when it comes to planning and it comes to planning and making sure my daughter's not being run ragged on the way to a vacation, and then on the way back as well, is pretty interesting, that I kind of revert back to all these resources that day to day I don't think about too much. So it'll be interesting to see how that all gets built out. But once I opened my third or fourth tab, I thought, I need to make a video on this and kind of how the planning process, how I'm thinking through these stops, because it is interesting. And it's traveling with a child is different than how far can we go tonight, as adults. My brother and I have driven out to Colorado. We've driven out to Colorado too, but we've driven out to California in a couple days, and just pretty much hammered it. And we've done big, intense road trips. I've driven from down in the Houston area back up to Minneapolis in a straight shot. It takes about 24 hours, and it's not fun. But you can do it. I wouldn't do that anymore, just because I'm not in my early 20s and as resilient or stupid as I was then. But, when you're traveling alone or traveling with other adults, you might be a little more, you might hammer it a little harder than we're going to do. But, so that video is probably going to be coming. I wasn't expecting to necessarily do one, but like I said, I had all those tabs up and I'm like, yeah, this should be kind of walked through for people who might be thinking of doing the same thing in their new EV. So that will be coming. I'm not going to say exactly where we're staying because that'd be weird. Unless we want to have a big group road trip, and then we can get we'll invite Elon. I'll ask him next. That'll be my first question next week. Perfect. I don't know why I didn't think of that earlier. That should have been the first thing that came to my mind. Let's see. Bearded Tesla just did a trip to Florida. His aren't as interesting. Well, thank you, I guess. I've seen a few of his road trips, and they're pretty good from an information standpoint, but he does tend to do a lot of updates sitting in his car. But I think once he gets to places, he does pretty good shots of, what they're doing. It's been a while. I haven't seen the Florida one, the new Florida one. But he seems like he's a very stats and info focused kind of guy, and I'm much more of a we made it, what's around here kind of person, where kind of like I was saying with the apps, is like once I'm familiar with it, I don't necessarily go back to all the stats and see exactly, what's my battery health today. Maybe I should pay closer attention to that, but it's just not my area of interest as much. I don't want to lose my nerd cred here, he says on a EV podcast or live stream. But let's see. Just put 19-inch winters on my car from the 21 Ubers. I updated the selection in the UI. Does that make a difference? New wheels are not stock. I think changing the size makes a difference. I don't know. It probably won't show your specific style rims if they're not the stock rims. I don't think. But it probably, if you switched wheel sizes, it would be good to change that in the computer. I think I'm going to need to, I may have said this earlier, but I'm going to need to get winter tires probably, because the all seasons I have were pretty slippery. And I think that's part of why I had some disengagements, because Beta was going, hey, there's a lot of wheel slip here, we're not sure. And so having me come out there, well, everybody wants to do the road trip with Elon, so it's pretty much a done deal now. I think that can be that can be the next Twitter speculation. Crazy Twitter speculation that Elon's going to join us on a road trip from Minnesota down to Florida. Well, I guess he does spend some time in Florida, but I don't think he has a lot of call to come up here if it wasn't to, maybe visit a service center or the other manufacturing plant they have up in the cities. But I'm just glad everyone's on board with it. So caravan, then, I guess. It would be epic to do. That was a fun thing with Fully Charged in early 2020 before all the pandemic lockdown stuff happened. Driving down to Austin, Texas, and just picking up other drivers also going there along the way. And I think we may have met our first... maybe we didn't meet anybody the first day or late on the first day. But you start talking to someone at a supercharger and like, oh, you're from Minnesota, or oh, you're from Iowa once you get further south. And it's like, oh, we're going to Fully Charged. Hey, we're going to Fully Charged. Hey, we're going to Fully Charged. And pretty soon you have this big pack of, you start seeing, familiar faces, and then you're down there and you see other, familiar faces. Downside was once we got to like Waco and Austin, especially, at that point, again, a lot fewer superchargers built out early last year. Wow. Well, I guess we're almost 2 years away from that now. But there have been a lot of superchargers built in that time. When I stop and think about it. So, but yeah, those last couple chargers got pretty choked with Teslas, and there were lines. They were moving pretty fast. We didn't have to wait too long, but it was fun to kind of carry a caravan down with all the other familiar faces, to the same gathering. Yeah, Sandy's on his way to the East Coast, I think, from Michigan in a Plaid. I haven't seen any of the videos. I've just seen some posts of different people saying, hey, I met Sandy at a supercharger, or, our Tesla group met him here or there. Speaking of Tesla group, I missed yesterday's event. So Todd, or anybody who went to that, Todd, I think you arranged it, so sorry I missed that one. I really wanted to come. Not knowing the situation my daughter was in, I didn't feel comfortable getting into a big gathering if she was really very sick. She wasn't. She just came home and played all day, and then played all day today. Anyway, if there's anything cool that happened at that event, or a bunch of people showed up, let me know in the chat if you're still around. But sorry to have missed that one. Yeah, Sandy just got the Plaid. Yeah, John's more interested in the data side than I am, really, too. With the wanting to see the temperature of the battery pack on the screen. I guess it would be cool. I guess if we could see it, then, that would be another metric you could kind of go by, or, drive a little harder on the way to a supercharger to warm up the battery pack. But just to have it for a data standpoint, I know a lot of people would love that. But I probably wouldn't pay much attention to it, generally. Yeah, road trip to Washington, D.C. I did have... that was a missed opportunity. President Biden was in Rosemount, which is like 2 suburbs over from me, the other day. And, of course, I thought about it like, as he was getting into town and had other stuff going on. It was last week, because I had my daughter with me then too. They were doing distance learning all last week, so it's just been it's been a daddy-daughter party, which is all fun and good, unless it's not. But for the most part, it's all fun and good. But so the president was, like I said, a couple suburbs over, and I thought it would have been cool to get a bunch of Tesla owners, not to do anything harassing or anything like that. I think that kind of stuff is childish and BS. But it would have been cool to get like 20 or 50 Teslas to go, like, get tickets, or however you have to arrange it. But wherever the parking area is, just have tons of Teslas posted there, so they were like almost impossible to ignore. I thought that would have been a good statement to make, of just say, hey, there's a bunch of these here in Minnesota too. It's not just California, and some of us are regular people who own Teslas and enjoy them. And other EV, it would have been great to have other EVs there too, but they seem more interested in talking about those other EVs. Yeah, that would have been, had I thought of it earlier, it would have been, I think, a nice statement to make, and maybe some of the press or somebody may have noticed, someone may have noticed, or maybe no one, who knows. But yeah, Sandy's going on that road trip with the Plaid S. Yeah, he had pics on. Oh, Bearded Tesla was in India. Okay. So the event was a fun time. That's good. Gil brought treats. I think she posted a picture of those, and I was really jealous. I wasn't there to help eat them. I missed the event yesterday myself. Glenn failed. Well, I'm sorry. But I'm glad the event went well. I was kind of wondering if people would be avoiding it because of the snow. But really it was pretty much done, and I think things were relatively well plowed by the afternoon. Like I said, I was reading Harry Potter to my daughter, so that's what I was doing. But I'm glad the event went well. Just trying to... Oh, my battery is blinking here. This new camera, I have to be on battery because I don't have a plug-in for it at this point. So while that's blinking, I was just checking to see if there was any other major political or argumentative topic I wanted to get into. Looks like those have all passed. I do have that full self-driving in the snow video dropping tomorrow morning. It's in 4K, so look for that. Even though you'll probably watch it on your phones if you watch it. I do also want to do, I don't want to do a whole ton of full self-driving videos, but I do want to do one in small towns and take it around and see if it's just, kind of built for cities, or if it can, worm its way through smaller towns, cross railroad tracks, all that kind of stuff. Things you might not see in a city or suburbs. So I want to do a video in the coming weeks with that. I'll definitely wait till 10.6.1 for that at least, to see if we see improvements. And then I've got range tests and cold weather tests all coming in the either later this year or in early next year, as we're getting close to the end of this year. I was going to talk a little bit about that, getting stuck in a winter traffic jam meme that's been going around, and the assumption that you can't drive an EV in the winter. But you guys all know that you can. And but that's another good topic of education if you're talking to friends and family over the holidays, that showcase that your EV works just fine in the wintertime and you haven't died. Unless you have, in that case, don't tell anybody, because you'll be dead. And on that cheerful note, I think that's as good a place as any to end it. Unless anyone has another comment that isn't a spam comment for some sort of website. But anyway, thank you all for joining me very much. I really appreciate it. Do you like this setup better than the old blue wall setup? It's a little different office configuration for me. I could go back to that or try something new. If you've got suggestions, leave them in the chat or the comments or whatever. I'm all ears. And so if there's a good suggestion, I'm happy to take it. But I hope everyone has a good night. And I'm going to... Now my screen's over there instead of up there. So I've got to find my... what the place I have for ending this thing. But again, thank you all for joining. I really appreciate it. Hope everyone has a great week, and we'll see you next week for and there goes the camera. So we're on audio now only, and that was good timing to wrap it up. And I'll see you guys later. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. And we'll go